G'day guys, thanks for joining us on another Thursday night for our live stream. Today we've got a very interesting one on the recent gun bans this week. So there's been 8 guns in total in Western Australia, and everyone's wondering, are they going to filter through to the other states? Something we will talk about. So I'll bring Jason in, but before we start, please hit that subscribe button, and you can find us on all the social medias. All the details will be down in the description. So I will bring Jason in, and g'day, Jason. How are you?
What's going on, man? Interesting time.
It is. Yeah, been a bit of a roller coaster week, hasn't it?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty crazy. I was just looking at this morning too, it's just this afternoon. Looks like that second tranche of gun reforms from New Zealand just got accepted 2/3 reading, got past Parliament, so they'll now have firearms registration. We'll probably go into that a little bit more a bit later, but yeah, it's not looking good for them. New Zealand first, those traitorous pricks in Winston Peters and Ron Marks sold out the hunting shooting constituency, who no doubt voted for them, and sold out to old Cindy Ardern, which is very, very disappointing. And if you have a look on their Facebook page, both those guys are copping an absolute bollocking. So it's not looking good. I hope their party at the September election goes into oblivion. Winston Peters is gone and Ron Mark's gone. But, as we know, Winston's old. He's probably not going to care anyway because he's going to get a fat, cushy pension. And, he's obviously made enough money off the taxpayers, mate. So, he's not really going to care whether he gets re-elected or not. He's pretty old. So, hopefully the poor, bloke just buzzes off into oblivion.
Well, I remember Winston Peters when I lived in New Zealand 30 years ago, even at high school. I'm pretty sure he was the politician over there that got nailed for buying $5,000 pairs of underwear and socks on a government credit card, and just got a slap on the hand. I remember it's all over the papers, serious fraud, and nothing happened to him. Typical politician, just look after each other.
He was in the limelight again about a year ago, wasn't he? For some things that were going on, and I guess we're still waiting to see what happens with that. But again, like anything, these guys investigate themselves. Of course, like the police, they always never find any wrongdoing because they investigate themselves, and even the independent authorities are paid for by the government. So why is an entity paid by the government going to find wrongdoing when the people that pay them are the government you're investigating? So, mate, what chance do you have of winning, mate? What chance do you have?
Oh, the whole government thing is just a big pile of vomit, if you ask me. Just an absolute mess. It really is. Really is. So we made the video that we actually went very well on. We explained every gun that was banned in Western Australia. So that went really well. I think it's one of the highest grossing videos I've actually done on the new channel. 10,000 views in 48 hours.
Not bad at all, considering you've only got 5,000 subscribers. 5,300 and got well over 10,000, man. That's pretty good. So you can't complain with that. That's a 200% on top of your subscribers. 100% on top. So you can't complain with that.
Yes, and it was very interesting at what guns they banned over there. Like from a pistol to Cat C guns that are already highly restricted. Like 1% of shooters can get their hands on it. It's mind blowing. Some of the stuff. The pistol and the Cat C guns was a real shock. Then other guns that were $20,000 odd, they banned those. It's not like someone's going to be able to go and get their license, go buy a $20,000 gun and commit a crime.
No.
So yes, it's not good at all. And then the morning after, they banned this puppy, the Berica 12-gauge shotgun in Western Australia, the Black Ops. You can get the other models, but this one here is now banned in Western Australia. And so I talked to the importer. So what he did say was that it was a total shock, came out of nowhere, because as you know, they did get banned fully about a year ago. And he spent over $30,000 of his own money to appease the Border Force and Federal Police. And now the Federal Police actually okayed. They rebuilt the action. So all this is all new. So they redesigned it, rebuilt it. They didn't like it because it looked too much like an AR-15. So they got rid of all that. And it has actually been approved, and it's going to be one of the only actions, he said, in Australia that has actually been approved and will be approved for this style of shotgun to come in. So it's, and he's getting patents out on the actions and everything as well. So he said it was an absolute shock. He said, no warning, just on yesterday morning, this came up. Your gun can't be sold over here. So he was pretty shocked, but he did say to me he hadn't sold many over in Western Australia because he said it's very hard to sell guns over there.
Yeah, it's oh man, we were just talking about this, which is what we said in some of the videos, just that one we just posted, or you just posted the other day. And this is probably the biggest reclassification we've ever seen, really, especially when it surrounds things like gun bans, because in essence, that's what they are. It's just another gunman. And it's really sad, all these guns they're banning. And we did say this again over the last 3 months during COVID that this was going to be a big problem moving forward. We probably should have seen the writing on the wall when they started declining licenses and declining permits to acquire and stuff like that, saying you have basically no reason to own a gun because the gun shops aren't open and stuff like that. So it's just, mate, this is just the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life, man. This is feels like I was only young in 1996. I'm 39, so I was only about 16. And yeah, this is the worst thing that I've ever seen. And, it's just been crickets, man, from, a lot of our supposed representatives. And I know we said we weren't going to talk about politics, but, this is the biggest thing we've probably seen for God knows how long, 20 something years since the pistol, the pistol ban and buybacks and the 1996 buybacks, like 7 or now 8 guns in one foul swoop. I mean, this is just madness. If we're not going to conduct some sort of legal action now, man, we are the most pathetic minority that I think I'd actually be embarrassed to be a firearms owner if we do not do something now and instantly commence some type of legal action. Like if SSAA, the big organizations, don't get their act together, like honestly, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the next 2 weeks. And if it continues on, they'll be getting an abs. I know you've been a bit more harder on them than I have. But, I'm going to give them an opportunity, right? And if they fail in this respect, they're going to cop, the wrath of, at least verbally from me anyway, and say how pathetic and crap they are. We already know they're not very good as it is, but if they let something like this go through, which is probably going to affect business, it's going to affect, just the firearms you can bring into the country. They're not going to do anything now. When are they going to do anything? And me and Aaron were having this conversation today. He's saying, what do we do, man? Like we're seeing it in New Zealand. They just don't care. They're just going to ban these guns. And what can we do? They're just going to ban more guns. What can we do? And I just don't think we can do anything. There's nothing we can do. They're going to continually to ban firearms until we've got nothing left. I don't want to be negative, but that is the sad reality of what we're dealing with unless we do something now. Like now is the time. And if we don't do it now, I would say kiss your guns goodbye within the next 10 years. And I hate to say that, but if gun ownership is really important to you, like it is to me, I've even thought about leaving the country, to be brutally honest, because I love the industry that much that I've just got to let this go and move somewhere else, because I just don't really see how, if these organizations are going to sit on their ass and love the NFA because of the amount of dollars they make off shooters and that's their business model, then to be honest, they can go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having to deal with these people that don't stand up for us, that have got tens of millions of dollars while they ban 8 firearms in one foul swoop. If you don't do anything now, you are duplicitous and you're as bad. And I say this to these organizations, you are as bad as the people that want to take our guns if you won't stand up and spend some of that fat cash dollars defending our interests. That's what you're there to do. You're not there to take our money because the NFA makes you fat paychecks. Fucking do something. Do something now. I'm over it. I don't normally swear guys that much, but I'm absolutely sick up to my eyeballs with these organizations that won't stand up and say, oh, it's going to cost too much money. Let's do a crowd fund. Let's get involved. Let's get it done.
Definitely. Well, I've been scanning the Facebook pages and everything of the 2 big organizations up here that are completely worthless. Nothing, dude. No articles on it. Nothing not even talking about the bans. They never even talked about it. So I don't put any hope in the pathetic Shooters Union or WSAA up here in Queensland. But we were both contacted by the National Shooter Council, and I talked to them on the phone today, and they are looking at taking legal action over in WA over this. So once again, the big organisations, the big two, wiping their hands on it by the looks of it so far, but a small one from Victoria is going to step in and help another state out. So, which is good. And what they actually said to me, if anyone is watching this over in Western Australia and you have any of those guns, go look on our video that was released yesterday, 7 guns being banned in Australia. Go have a look on that list. If you have any of those on that list, please contact the National Shooting Council, because they need to get some submissions from people who actually own those guns so they can move forward with taking the government to court.
Yeah, so I'm willing to give them a chance. This is their last chance to shine, man. This is their last chance to do something, man. This is the worst I've ever seen the industry since pretty much I've had my license since I was 18, but I only really got back into it probably a couple of years before I started the show, maybe 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. So I've only been back into it 12 or 13 years, but this is the worst I've seen this industry, and the infighting and stuff like that. Instead, we need to use that power and that gusto to actually start doing something. So I'm willing to give them an opportunity for the next couple of weeks to a month to see what they do. At the moment, we just haven't heard anything from anybody on the things that are happening with 8 gun bans that are happening in Western Australia. And I saw a few comments on the video, like the odd one going, "Oh, well, they're not banned; they're just banning Western Australia." Like, really? You don't think New South Wales is going to be far behind? You don't think some of these other states are going to be far behind? Like, guys, just consider that: 8 firearms straight away, 1 foul swoop, 1 go. Like, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. I mean, there's nothing we can do to help you, and that's the case. But
yes, exactly. Just looking at the comments here. Sorry, Jason, for a second. If you have any questions you want to ask us, please get them down now, because we do start at the top and we work our way down during the night. So we do try and get to everyone. So just put your comments in there straight away, and we will be starting to answer some of them very soon. And once again, we're going to be answering the Patreon questions first before we get to the chat room questions.
Let me say one thing. I think if he's listening right now, I think he's down. Aussie Capitalist. Yes, Aussie Capitalist. He's joined me up on Patreon. Now, I don't know if this is 100%, so I'll wait for him to comment, but he pledged $17.76. So I'm not sure if that's a clue to the 1776 American Revolution. If it is, that's cool. But thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. So,
well, I think it is, because he is a Patreon of mine as well for 5 months. But if you're watching Aussie Capitalist, it is coming up on Patreon that your payments aren't coming through for some reason. So give us a yell and we'll try and sort it out for you. Yes, yeah, well, it's just staggering. It's going to be very interesting to see if these organisations, or the bigger ones at least, who do have the money, actually do anything. But once again, WSAA don't want to bite the hand that feeds them, do they?
I just want to see. I'd like really to see them all just put the egos aside, get together on this, and really do something. I mean, the time is now. And again, we've said this again 3 months ago during the COVID, this was going to happen, that, if they thought something was going to, we thought they were going to do something. I thought it wouldn't be this quick. So it's actually quicker than we anticipated. We haven't even got out of the whole COVID-19 issue as of yet. People have lost their jobs. And what does the WA police do? Kicks dirt in people's faces, pisses on them, and says, well, now we're going to take away your livelihood for people that import these firearms as well. So duplicitous, sick, any word you can think of really goes here, that's for sure.
Yes, exactly. And now they're talking about the second wave of the COVID-19. I said that from day one. You watch, there'll be a second wave, and they'll try and do more bullshit to us, and I think this is what's going to happen. Would not surprise me if the gun shops get closed down again if this second wave happens. And everyone, all the gullible city people, will fall for the whole lot again, I reckon.
Before we go into the questions, do you want to do the New Zealand stuff, or you want to go through Patreon questions first? And then
I'll answer a couple of Patreon, because there's a few here actually for Patreon.
Just answer while you're doing that, and I'm going to have a look at this article as well, just that I'm looking at now while you're doing that.
Yep. Okay. This one for both of us, actually. Heath Savage. In your opinion, what are the best 3 budget aftermarket stocks, and how much do they improve your accuracy? Well, the 3 aftermarket stocks for me could be different to Jason. Is I'm on the new build. You would have seen getting Cerakoted and painted in the weekend was a Southern Cross Firearms chassis made here in Sydney, or down in Sydney where Jason is. The GRS, very good stocks. Jason runs those, and anything from MDT. They're probably the cheapest ones you can get. Hey.
I was thinking the exact same ones as you, actually. Like, weird, we hadn't even spoken about this before the show.
Yeah, so I think we both agree for a budget they're probably the best, and then after that they're all sort of pretty much sub 1,000, 500 to sub 1,000, just under. And then after that, how much money do you want to spend? Really, they go up to $3,000-4,000 for a chassis, and to make it accurate, 95% of shooting is the person behind the gun. We'll talk more about the long range shooting in coming videos, but it's definitely behind the gun. It's all practice. The way you lie, the way you sit at a table, your breathing, not rushing, getting comfortable. That's the main thing. Chassis will add a little bit of weight to it, and a bit of weight to a target rifle is always good. For hunting, I don't really think it's necessary. Because you're only taking a couple of shots and you do want everything as light as possible, and chassis do add a bit of weight to it. What do you think, Jace?
Yeah, I mean, I like those stocks. All the ones you mentioned, I think are really good, man. Like it's GRS, I've got a couple of them myself. I think they're pretty good. I've had some experience. I've seen mates with a couple of the KRG stuff. I think they're pretty good too. The Southern Cross small arms, if you're looking after a chassis. MDT, I've got an MDT as well on the CZ457, which is pretty decent if you like chassis. I'm still mixed on whether I like chassis or stocks. I think I'm definitely probably leaning, I've only got one chassis, so I'm definitely leaning more towards stocks with good palm swells and good cheek rises and stuff like that. I think, just it feels more comfortable to me, but I haven't had much experience with that MDT LSS rimfire yet. So when I do, I'll let you know.
Yes, very good. Okay, and one from Aussie Capitalist. This isn't really a question. The Sulan Arms TAC-12 have arrived in Perth and will be getting sent out to people very soon. They are 7+1, a Benelli M4 straight pull, price the same as the Berica Black Ops. Yes, well, they may be getting released. How long? Yeah, exactly what I was thinking.
We shouldn't even laugh about it because it probably will come a reality. That's how bad things are right now.
Would it be bad if I run a giveaway and people put their answers in? How many weeks before it's gone?
We shouldn't even be. It's so bad. We're joking about it. Like this is how bad things have gotten, guys. We don't know which way's up or down. Which gun's going to be banned tomorrow? Which one they're not going to like?
Yeah, with Western Australia, like you wake up in the morning and just check their site and see what's been banned overnight or over the morning cup of coffee. So, Mick Beckers, gun bans don't work. All they do is punish legal firearm owners, of course. Like many other unnecessary components of firearms-related laws, take, for example, mandatory handgun participation, which is completely useless and worthless. You should have to be able to own a handgun, even though you do have to go to ranges, but it should be up to you how many times you want to go a year. It's your property. You shouldn't have to be told how many times you've got to use it. People have busy lives. Some people can't make it for different reasons. No one could go to the range to meet mandatory shoots during lockdown, and the community is not less safe because it is that clear. The mandatory participation laws are not required and should be abolished. Agree? Yes, I do agree. 100%. You're licensed to have that firearm. Doesn't matter how often you shoot it. If you want to go once a year, if you want to go 30 times a year, it should be all up to you. You shouldn't be told by the government how many times you got to use your private property.
Yeah, agreed. This is what happens when, like a WA gets on and does something. They go, they do this, and then they do that. They go, is that going to come up? Probably not. There we go. Sulon Arms, banned.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's how they do it, guys. They get a piece of paper, banned. They write it down, banned. That's what they do.
I wonder if they just got all these guns in a hat and they just pull, okay, let's pull 7 out today and ban those ones. Because that list, guys, go, if you haven't seen the video, get onto the video and look at that list. We were blown away by them, from $20,000 guns to highly restricted Cat C guns to a simple 22 handgun. So, okay, here's another one from John. When do you think the people in this country will come to our senses and demand the removal of the failed NFA? It costs the Australian taxpayer $75,000 a day to continue to run this flop of a failed system. At the moment, hang on, he's missed a few words here. At the same time, demand self-defense laws for all citizens. Replace it. Your thoughts, not you. Your thoughts, because truly believe that people are ready. Okay, well, definitely, it's registration needs a confiscation, and we have seen that many times over. I think it should all be abolished, and $75,000 a day. I think that's only in Queensland, because I heard Queensland is in the multi-millions of dollars for their registration every year, and it achieves absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and we've been having this discussion, haven't we, over a long period of time, whether, we've just got no power against these people, guys. We've got no power. None of the organisations want to do anything, so if they just ban it and they want it banned, they'll simply just get it banned. What are we going to do? We've been ineffective for the last 24 years. We've not had one change to the NFA. We've been ineffective on getting pro-gun people elected. People think we've got a lot of pro-gun people elected. I've did basically some rough figures of 13 that we've got around the country. I'd probably consider maybe 2, maybe 3 pro-gun to where they need to be. Others talk a big game but never introduce legislation onto the floor of Parliament. One, and I won't mention his name or anything, but one person has been in Parliament for well over 50 years. And, he's a good advocate for shooters, but has also never introduced one single piece of legislation onto the floor of Parliament to make life easier for shooters. So, again, when I see people saying, and I like this person, I think is a pretty good pro-gun advocate, but at the end of the day, too, if you're not going to introduce any legislation onto the floor of Parliament, I mean, you're absolutely not doing your job, and it's pretty useless to be our friend to help us, but then not to introduce any type of legislation or try and garner support for some type of legislation. So, it's very, very sad, mate. 50 years, if you can't introduce one piece of legislation on the floor of Parliament to help shooters, I mean, how good are you really? I mean, it's just not going to work for us. So what are we going to do from here? Well, I don't know. We're just got to start legal action, and we've said that's the only thing. We can write as many letters as we want. We wrote to WA, and then guess what they did to us instead, mate? As soon as the COVID was over, 3 weeks later, they shafted us again. So again, if you think, I've been advocating for letters for well over 10 years, and I've realised not one single piece of legislation has changed from writing letters. Not one single one. We had our organisations write to WA, didn't do a single thing. 3 weeks later, they're banning 8 firearms within 24 hours. Just think about that.
Well, one of the local members of Parliament came into one of the gun shops here in Brisbane to see how they're going, and they said, well, we're open again, thank God. He goes, did you see any of these letters, any of the organisations who keep mouthing off they sent these sternly worded letters? And they said, nope, never heard of these organisations, never heard of the Shooters Union, never heard of WSAA. The guy said he wasn't a shooter, but said, I've been in meetings with the top people in Parliament. Not one of them has mentioned a letter, an upset shooter, nothing. So they just don't get them, and they don't see them. So if you hear from these organisations they're winning because of their letters, it's absolute bullshit, because A, they aren't getting them, and B, if they do, they don't take them to note at all. So here's a message for you to read out, and it sort of comes on this from Colin.
I feel helpless when I hear of a gun ban. What can your average shooter do? Writing letters and petition does not work. The whole system is against shooters. Yeah, man. It's a hard realization that I came to after 10 years that, if the government's going to do it, mate, they're just going to do it. It's just as simple as that. And until we start biting back and start taking some form of legal action, we might not even win then, mate. We might not even win then. I feel sad too, mate. I get frustrated after literally 2 hours ago reading about these new laws in New Zealand and, people that you thought were your friends in Parliament or represented shooters, even though some of these guys, even in Ron Mark for New Zealand First, he's a shooter. I'd be instantly, if I was a range or a gun shop, I'd say, you're not welcome in the shop anymore. You're not welcome on the range. If you're a member of any one of our clubs, we're going to rescind your membership because just out of the safety of our members, you're not welcome to the club anymore. You're not welcome to shoot in any sanctioned club match. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome in our hunting groups. You're not welcome in when you've just, I was going to say it's a bad word then, but I was going to say when you've sold out shooters, you're not welcome here anymore, mate, at all. We don't want you a part of the group. We don't want you as part of our brethren. You're just a traitorous, as you would say, and I don't particularly like that term, but you're just human garbage. That's what these people are when they know in full well that shooters voted for them, and he thinks it's the right idea to sell shooters out, whilst knowing that the police failed to do the proper reference checks. They knew his references were people from chat rooms that he'd never, ever met. And Aaron saw the video today too, watching Police Minister Stuart Nash literally smirking while somebody from the National Party was asking, why did the police fail in not doing the required checks? Who was his witness? Who was his referee? And did they verify the witness? They wouldn't even answer the questions, while Stuart Nash, the police minister, is just sitting there laughing and smirking at people, thinking this is funny. I mean, he's just a traitorous prick, that guy, no doubt about it.
Oh, he even looks like a pure filthy slime ball as well. Well, your typical politician, really. Yes, they did the vetting process, as you said. They're meant to talk to a family member in person and or a close person to you. They didn't do that. They talked to a father and son, I think it was, in a chat room, internet chat room, and they were over 1,000 miles away. So that's how they decided that he could have a gun license. So complete and utter failure. So these gun bans were actually brought on by the absolute incompetence of police, and now they're trying to cover up their pure corruption in New Zealand and their pure mismanagement of their job, basically. And I even saw one article today. They're calling for that officer that covering him, trying to cover his ass and didn't do his job properly, to be up on 51 counts of manslaughter because he okayed this terrorist to have a gun without doing the proper vetting.
Just wanted to to finish off that conversation. So this one's from rnz.co.nz. Firearms legislation passes final reading. The government has pushed through its second tranche of firearms changes promised in the wake of last year's shooting. The legislation passed its third and final reading with the support of Labor, New Zealand First, and of course the filthy Greens. It paved the way for a gun register and a warning system to show licence holders a fit and proper person. Police Minister Stuart Nash said the new law is designed to stop firearms falling into the wrong hands. No, that was the police that did that because they didn't do their background checks. So I don't know how this extra stuff is going to make a difference when they didn't follow the initial laws on the books over 12 months ago. So what they're going to do too, from what I'm reading here, there's a plan to set up the gun register, which could be delayed up to 3 years. The government aims to establish an independent entity to take over firearms licensing and administration. So I guess that could be considered a positive, that police won't be looking after firearms in New Zealand anymore. It will be an independent authority, quote unquote independent, meaning the government somehow. And I'm sure the police and that little turd from the police union, Chris Cahill, he'll be have his hand in that, trying to influence the independent authority to do what they want. He's been trying to get the New Zealand police armed for years and years on end, whilst trying to take away guns from law-abiding people like me and you, obviously people in New Zealand, the people that live there. So another thing too, I guess they did make a provision similar to Australia that farmers will be able to jump through all these hoops if they want to get semi-automatic weapons to be able to cull animals on their own property. Ron Mark again said he was still disappointed with the outcome, which did not make exemption for sporting shooters. Yet the filthy little bald-headed turd, don't get me sorry, guys, no, just bald people. I'm losing a bit of my hair too, so don't worry. Sat there, sighed as he got up and voted for the legislation. Sighed as he got up and voted for the legislation, so he was disappointed to not make the exemption for sporting shooters. The whole deal rested on their support being the kingmakers of New Zealand, and they went with the Greens, Labor, and New Zealand First to make this happen. Just duplicitous. Can't even say it, man, because I'm still upset about it. So, it's not even my country, but again, the thin edge of the wedge, the slippery slope, whatever you want to call it. This is the shit that we have to deal with, and we can, we're just helpless. We are just helpless, and I can see again in years to come, this is not going to be the last time we're going to have a Christchurch. I think if people, sort of look to their, deep down, this is not going to, we're getting more divided on things like firearms and politics. And, this is not going to be the last time this is going to happen, whether it happens in Australia next, New Zealand, across somewhere in Europe, America, Canada. We saw it in Canada as well, man, banning 1,500 firearms based on their appearance, yet they won't even tell you what firearm that he used, because people are saying it's a pistol, but this is just another reason to ban guns that weren't even involved in the shooting, and 9 of those people were killed by fire. So again, did we expect anything less from Justin Trudeau? Do we expect anything less from Labor parties? At least in New Zealand now, at least the Nationals started to get a backbone. And I watched one of their speeches today as well when they were talking about the referee checks, and they were getting pretty passionate and pretty spirited during this debate. I thought finally these assholes from National are finally getting off their butt. But where were they when old Cindy Ardern wanted to push through the gun laws on the first wave right after Christchurch? National were all over it. New Zealand First were all over it. And now all of a sudden they want to care about shooters, because guess what? There's an election in September, while you have that bald-headed prick, Ron Mark, trying to tell us how bad he feels for us, how sorry, I'm a sporting shooter, I'm just like you. You're nothing like me. Nothing like me at all. Like you are the worst. You know what? At least with Labor and the Greens, you know where they stand, mate. You know they don't like guns, and then you have dead shits like Ron Mark and Winston Peters telling you they're like you and they're your friends. Crap. Absolute crap.
Yep. Well, they feed us the same bullshit in this country as well. That's for sure. So another Patreon.
Anyway, sorry for that rant, guys. I hate seeing this all the time, man. There's nothing we can do when people sell you out. They're the worst kind of rat, and the worst kind of white anting is people that pretend to be your friends or pretend to help you out, and then only turn around to shit on you majorly because it serves their interest to remain in Parliament for relevancy. Or we're the kingmakers, we control everything. Well, I hope the New Zealand people are watching, and I hope they really turn on New Zealand First at the next election. And cockheads like Winston Peters and Ron Mark are really just in Parliament, and the votes is put to the sword and kicked out of Parliament because they didn't regain their seats due to their treachery.
Yes, definitely. I agree. So here's one that I've been asked a few times, actually, from Trevor Hill. G'day, mate. Seen as WA has banned the Berica, how long before the retards here in Queensland will follow the leader and ban it here in Queensland? Well, I don't think they're going to ban it in Queensland because we don't have the appearance laws and that. But just never know when one state does it. This gun is actually still legal in New South Wales, funnily enough, because the stock is not folding or adjustable. It's a fixed stock. So I don't know if New South Wales haven't banned it. I don't think it's going to be banned in Queensland at all. That's
the problem, isn't it, mate? There is absolutely zero uniformity amongst the states, and that's why they could never ever work together on like a uniform national gun laws. But then that's why it's only an agreement. We just need one state just to literally fall away from that agreement, and I think that'll be the end of it. We just need one state hopefully to fall away from that agreement, and I think the dominoes would fall, but trying to get one state to do that. And you say what's happened in Queensland, mate, Queensland could introduce appearance laws within the next 12 months. We just don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Would anybody be surprised? I wouldn't be at all.
Yeah, you just don't know about these bastards. Here's your favourite name here for you, old Rod Knocker.
What do you say? I'm still broken up about the buyback. The taxpayers paid top dollar for my munted old pump shotgun, and no one could find any PVC water pipe and end caps left to buy around here for some reason.
Yep. Yeah.
We always guys, as much as we want to do you feel like you want to do the wrong thing. I hate to say it, you have to follow the laws, try and do the right thing. But you know what? That's how they get you. I remember doing a couple of interviews within the last 12 months ago with what was his name? Tom Frame. He wrote a book on gun control, and he said gun owners shouldn't have been relating to the general public about this issue because they were seen as the enemy. So the problem was, if I got angry, right, and upset they were taking my guns and I didn't do anything wrong, they'd point at you and say, see, they do the wrong. They're bad people. See, they're getting angry. Should angry people have guns? And then if we tried to relate to them and tried to say, well, we're just like you, husbands and fathers and friends and family like you, that wasn't the right way either. So what do you do then? So you can't get angry. You can't get upset. You can't relate to people. Like the whole book was just complete waffle. And what are we supposed to do? Just go, okay, here's my guns. Oh, okay. Really? That's what I'm supposed to do? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Not give a shit? I can't get angry. I can't get upset. I can't do anything. I just got to give up my shit. What about all the people that committed suicide? What about all the families and businesses that went down, that they couldn't survive? Fractured families, husbands and wives broke up over business and money worries because they couldn't run their gun shops anymore. I mean, the untold effects of the whole 96 are still yet to even be realized fully from what happened 24 years ago. It's terrible.
Also, the monetary for the taxpayers. So far, I'm hearing figures from 23 years now, 24 years, of over $1 billion for this pathetic buyback that has done nothing but make civil Australians criminals, basically. So it's just absolutely mind-boggling, the money they spent on this buyback. And they would have known from day one it's not going to solve any problem, because bad people will always be bad people. And they'll always do horrible things, no matter what. If they can't get a gun, they'll use something else. Look at that lady up in Cairns, slaughtered all her children with a knife, killed them all in cold blood while they were asleep. She got off, pleaded insanity, got off a jail sentence, and got away. Basically, got away with the whole damn lot. She didn't have a gun. She used a knife. So you're never going to stop nutcases or bad people. And bad people get guns illegally.
She killed, I think it was 8 of her children, man. She killed all 8 of her children and is out walking or in some mental asylum somewhere. It's just beggars belief. You imagine if me or Aaron did that, we'd be burning in the grave until the day we die. You'd never see the light of day. But again, I'm not going to get into race relations and stuff like that. But we all know, if we're white boys or whatever, we're the last to be recognized. Like it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
And we've spoken about it. Before we go on, let me say one more thing too. When we were talking about, people say, well, there's been no shootings. Well, there has been. We had the Lockhart murders down near Wagga Wagga. We had the Margaret River murders. We had the Darwin shootings with the guy running around with the pump shotgun. So to say we don't have any shootings is just ridiculous. We have had shootings, and even Samantha Lee from Gun Control Australia has even recognized that. She said, I've still got the media on my computer, which is right here, saying, yes, we have had mass shootings, only to after that say we haven't had mass shootings. And people say, well, we haven't had a big mass shooting with lots of casualties. Yeah, that's because the only reason is purely luck. That's the only reason. Nobody has decided to, thank God, decided to go out and shoot a lot of people. But if they wanted to do that and they feel like they want to do that, they simply just go out and do that. Nothing's stopping them from doing that. We've just been extremely lucky, and I don't think we'll be lucky in 10 to 15 years down the track. We'll be looking back at this video and saying it happened again and again, and it's happening in other countries, it's happening all around the world, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. We've just been extremely lucky that no one's gotten their hands on a gun, and even if they could, they could anyway just go buy an illegal firearm off the streets. They can buy plenty of semi-autos, even fully automatics. You've only got to go on the New South Wales Police Facebook page to see the firearms that they're seizing from people, the Tommy guns and Uzis and some. There was a guy even in South Australia about 8-9 years ago manufacturing brilliant firearms. I mean, they were legal, but even though they were very well made, this guy took absolute pride in these illegal firearms that he was making. So they can just start making them, you know. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Let's get into the questions, man. We've been getting a bit full on here. 7:40. We've got. Hopefully, we can answer some questions for some of these
definitely
people out here.
Okay, Chris. Any news on the supposed ammo shortages that we could face, that we could be facing, that you mentioned earlier? I'm going to head to the local on the weekend and get a few boxes just in case, or some show chairs. Thank you for that, Chris. I was actually down at a gun shop today, and he did say the shortages are actually starting right now. So everything I hear, that some of the wholesalers will be short on quite a bit of ammunition come the end of the year, because the Americans are going to be stocking themselves up before they send it over here. So it'll be a bit of a shame, but I do highly recommend maybe get your projectiles, your reloading stuff, or your favourite factory ammo. And as we all know, what's the first to go? 22 LR. So from what I'm hearing, it is going to happen. I 100% hope it doesn't happen, but by the looks of it, it could happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over that. Yeah. Anyway, what's one we've got there? Let's go to, while you're reading that message I sent you, chuck us on another one, I think. What have we got here?
Happy Hunter. Yep, it's all yours.
Looking guns, but I hate gun bans. Me too, dude. It seems like the two go hand in hand. Are the government letting tactical guns in Australia on purpose so they can try and screw us? Mate, anything would be, mate, 10 years ago, I would have said no. Now, I'd probably say it wouldn't surprise me. Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen, mate, which guns they're going to ban. You don't know which guns they're going to know that you've got. And then all of a sudden tomorrow you wake up and then you get approved for a gun, and then you have it for 2 weeks, then that gun's gone. I mean, this is what we're dealing with, guys, at the moment, with what's happening with firearms ownership in Australia. What can we do? Like I said, I've been saying legal action now for probably the better part of about, probably 5 or 6 months now, because I just don't see any other way. So anyway, happy Hunter. I hope that helps, but I don't mind some of the tactical looking stuff. Probably not my thing per se, but I mean, I'll support anyone's right to have that. I mean, I do have that CZ455 in the LSS MDT chassis, which looks pretty good and looks a bit tactical. So we'll see how I go in that one.
Well, this bloody program has just jumped halfway down, and I can't get see the top comments now, unfortunately.
Yeah, me either, dude. Sorry, guys, whoever's first, it's ridiculous. I just noticed that too. I think if you go too long on the list, it just starts cutting you off, guys. So
yeah, maybe I'll look on YouTube. There's a lot of guys talking about the old 243s here. The old 243 gang's back out again.
Yeah. Did you scroll down those numbers? I think we need to do something about that.
Yep.
Just go down to the question. You give me a question, I'll answer it while you go down and have a look, man. There's a bit of shit you need to clean up there.
Oh yeah, there is too. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
You get the odd wanker in the live stream, guys. So we're sorry about that. Typical of people that want to be stupid. So,
and it's pretty obvious who it is. There you go. Time to take back our rights. Who are these a-holes that keep doing us over? Jason.
Good question, man. I mean, what is in, like, the police is one of them. They've certainly got a lot of say in what goes on. Of course, government, who's pulling the purse strings, only who knows. I think a lot of it's coming from the police ministers, police commissioners, and people within government that want to ban more guns. But I don't think that as much as the politicians really go out of their way, unless they're from the Greens, but I'm talking major parties that actually really take a huge interest in looking, at firearms to ban. I think it's the police and the hierarchy of the police that are really looking a lot harder and then referring stuff to government and then just making their own arbitrary decisions on firearms. So, I mean, who it is, mate, these nameless, faceless people, eh? So,
yes, definitely.
Hey, man, scroll back to the top two. You've missed out. Is there a bunch at the top there you've missed too?
Just
Just
no, but
scroll right.
all I can see right up to is "Love the Truth, Lads." This one here is the top one, so I don't know what the hell this program's done again to me.
Yeah.
I'm just going through these now. I think I got rid of the troll. This one. Okay, sorry guys. A lot of
Just get the
guys.
scared guys in the live chat here. So people got nothing better to do with their time other than be pathetic nuisances. So
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, here's a funny one for you, Jace.
yeah, okay. Kinetic 20 extra out of mil galvanized pipe. I get it. I galvanized round end cap 510 Bunnings Warehouse. The lowest prices are just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure I heard that up in Townsville, Cairns Way. There's a lot of holes dug up there. Yeah, that's for sure. Yep, here's this guy here. Remembers when that happened?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he remembers when he killed that lady and all her kids up north. The law went easy on her because of a sob story. Yeah, if you're female and you're from certain demographics, you sort of get away with this sort of stuff. But how can you get away with killing 8 of your children? It's just beggars belief, isn't it? Beggars belief. But that's Australia for you again. When they say they care about people's safety and all that, and they let this woman out on the street. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, if we missed your question, if we can't see up the top again, please just retype it and we will answer it for you. So here's one that's always been floating around from Aussie Capitalists. John Howard, who implemented the gun laws here, will get charged for high treason by the court one day. I wish, but I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened through his treachery. What do you think, Jason?
Howard will get charged. Check your messages anyway, your privates. Howard will get charged for high treason by the High Court one day. We can only hope, man. But, don't forget, Howard is the prodigal son, man, of gun reform. I mean, he's got a lot of support, not only from Liberals, but you've also got Labor, crowing about him as well, saying they didn't like Howard, but the best thing he ever did was, ban firearms. So that's what we're actually got to deal with. That says everything. At least in some of these countries like National or the Conservative Party of Canada and National in New Zealand, at least they're now, they've disagreed with these gun laws. We had, bipartisan support, both, I was going to say companies then, both political parties sided together and still do 20-something years later. And we haven't had one single change to the NFA. So we really haven't been effective at all in not only warding off these new gun bans, but even trying to get something overturned. Where's suppressors? I mean, we should have had suppressors by now. I mean, they're a good hearing aid in being able to use them on ranges, went out hunting, private land. I could probably see, I think they should be able to use on public land, but I could understand them refusing that. But private land and ranges should absolutely be getting suppressors. I mean, even England, they're pretty draconian on their gun laws, and they've got suppressors. Most of Europe allowed to use suppressors. So why don't we have them here? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also we'll just swap topic. What actually happened in Canada as well? They banned 1,500 guns in Canada just overnight, basically. And I think it was last week they banned another 200, and pretty much every single shotgun in Canada looks like it's facing the chopping block because they no bore diameter bigger than 20 mils, and shotguns are that, and they're measuring it from where you take the chokes out, which is a bigger again. So they could potentially look at banning every single shotgun in Canada, which is pretty bad. It really is. And the guy used a handgun, and there was no handgun bans. They just came after these semi-auto rifles that the mass shooter over there didn't use. And also the media pulled their old stunt. They went and ran a poll, and 52% of Canadians over there fully want all guns banned, no questions asked. But what they didn't do, they only went to the inner city suburbs and asked those questions. They didn't poll all across the countryside. So if they went to the countryside, they would have definitely got a different outcome, I think. And it's just like our media over here. All they do is just manipulate facts or not even report on the facts. It's just ridiculous. It really is. How could you ban 1,500 guns and not even use the gun, ban the gun that he actually used?
Yeah, exactly. Just go through some of these comments, man.
I know it's hard filtering some of these out.
Yeah, come on, guys. If you haven't got any decent questions, at least have the courtesy to not put dumb shit in the comments like some of you guys are doing, man. Like, it's just stupid. Ban them, man. If some of you are going to be banned, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, yep, definitely.
Rob's answer honest questions, and you're just flooding the feed with crap. So,
yep. Well, Rob's right. Rimfire, definitely. I dare say rimfire will definitely be hard to come by because everyone buys it, so it's cheap and very accessible. Every shop's got it, so I dare say there'll be a mass panic buy like toilet paper on rimfire.
Well, don't forget, remember how long ago was that? A couple of years ago, wasn't it? Maybe 3-4 years ago, they had a big shortage. Might not have even been that long ago. Big shortage on 22 long rifle ammo. I remember I had trouble there for a while, and they had some stops on some shipments because all the Americans were buying up all the 22 ammo after some things they had going on over there. And I think Obama was during the Obama administration, I think, and he was talking about banning guns, and everyone went and bought so many guns and all this 22 ammo that they didn't even, they couldn't supply the market. So, hey, I guess it's good for gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, so JAL joinery. Okay, no, it's not the one. He asked another question here.
We'd like to if there wasn't so many idiots in the chat doing stupid things.
Yeah, time to get over the 243. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, we seem to have a few 243 guys in here. Yeah. So it's yep.
Realize I've got a 243, as you guys know. I didn't think there'd be so much love and craziness over the humble 243, but I think I'm going to be going away in a couple of weeks too. Probably, I think it's about, looking at my dates now, 10th of July. We're going to be filming some massive videos again, doing some long range rabbit shooting. So check out my page, AHP Outdoors, if you want to check out some rabbit hunting stuff that I'm going to make some more. And it's going to be full sort of documentary style, movies and stuff that I try to make. So it takes time, but I enjoy watching it back too. So.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely I'll put those links in the description down below to your channel as well. And old Todd, how to talk to apathetic gun owners. It's pretty hard because these guys pretty much just set in their ways. We've all seen them down at the ranges, the old guys. No one needs a semi-auto, but I used to have them and I've had my time with them, but no one else really needs them. Just don't make any noise, keep quiet, and they won't come after our 22s. I've seen heaps of people who say that they won't come for X, and I just seem to engage them. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with getting up them for when they say stupid things. I had one guy at a range once tell me, an old guy, that he used to love shooting his semi-autos, but now he's really pleased that they're banned and they're gone, and he doesn't believe any gun in Australia should be over 223. No gun should be over 223 at all, and that should be as high as we could have, a bolt-action 223. They should all be banned. And what was he using? A 357 Magnum revolver at the pistol range, and he was lecturing everybody on how everything else should be banned. But here he was using a 357 Magnum. Yeah,
there's some good. Just go up to that one above that too. He's got a good one there too. Chris Delaba. We can go that one first. It's just two above that one, Chris. So we'll go to that one too.
Yeah, I see that. You answer this one.
Government and the UN have an agenda to ban weapons globally, from false flag operations to gun running. The stage is set. Welcome to the NWO. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, we do know, what was the name? Peters, Rebecca Peters was part of IANSA, which was the international coalition. I can't remember the exact term, but it's IANSA is the abbreviation. And she actually did a debate with Wayne LaPierre from the National Rifle Association some years ago, talking about gun laws and stuff like that. Then they took questions at the end. Wayne did a pretty good job at that, actually. So if you haven't checked that out, just type in Rebecca Peters and Wayne LaPierre versus Wayne LaPierre from on YouTube, and you'll find it. It's really good watch, guys. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, of watching, someone that's pro-gun at least debate someone that's an idiot, good luck watching that. You'll get frustrated, but then it's good, obviously, watching Wayne, who's pretty passionate about it too. So
yes, definitely. And here's Chris for you.
Yeah, just that question, besides guns, has freedom of speech come up on debate? That's a good question too. We don't really have that in Australia, which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't do or say anything in this country anymore. We've seen that. So yeah, it's a good question, man. And, we think we're losing more of our rights every day. So
yes, definitely. Freedom of speech doesn't exist. We don't have actual freedoms here. We don't have a Bill of Rights. We don't have any rights. We just basically, as a lawyer once told me, a mate of mine, we have a bill of don'ts. Everything, don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this. That's banned. We don't have any actual rights written down for Australian citizens, unfortunately. And here's our old Tom Gunn from Canada. Hello from Canada. We have our handful of 1,500 types prohibited. Yep, it's just very sad that we just talked about Canada. It is that Trudeau, what an absolute traitor. Absolute traitor.
Check your just check your privates too. Keep an eye on that, because I'm going to be sending you things. So
yep. Here's one for you. You got a Cat C. You can answer that one.
Yeah. Why is it so hard to get a Cat C license? Is it absolutely stupid what they want from you to have it? Yeah. I've still got mine in New South Wales. And again, it depends on what you want to get it for, whether you're getting it from for an injury or you're getting it for Cat C for primary production. But yeah, man, it is an arduous process, especially if you're a sports shooter Cat C. You've got to go through the Attorney General's department to be able to import or get access to brand new firearms. So that does take a long time. So sports shooters generally buy secondhand because they don't have to be able to import or get them released from customs. So yeah, it is an arduous process, mate, what you have to provide, stuff like that, which is obviously what they want to do to keep as many people keep as many people from getting Cat C as they possibly can. I think they're a bit easier on farmers because, they don't want to be seen as, ganging up like the Nationals don't want to get a bad rap from their constituents. So they get they get a bit of a free pass from the government, a little bit. It's still hard for them, but they get a bit of a free pass because, the Nationals don't want to lose votes out in the bush, do they? Which they've been hemorrhaging just recently for probably the last year and a half now.
Yep, exactly. And Cracker, are there any Australian manufacturers? If not, why? Yes, we do have some here in Australia. Of course, the big one is Lithgow Arms. They make fantastic arms, fantastic guns down in Lithgow, down Jason's way where he lives. They make a whole wide range from hunting rifles to long-range shooting rifles. Also sold in the US, and they make our military semi-autos here. So that's a good. They are very good Australian-made guns. Also, one of the banned guns this week was an Australian chassis. It wasn't even a gun. They banned the chassis, made here in Australia, a bullpup chassis that takes RIM 700 Antica. So Western Australia started banning Australian products as well. Absolutely no shame whatsoever.
Yeah, man, it's good to see good manufacturers like Lithgow and people. I reckon, other than Lithgow, there should be some, set up something in bolt actions. I reckon that'd be pretty awesome. I mean, I know we've got a lot of straight pull manufacturers, but I think, we do have Lithgow and absolutely purchase Lithgow. They make some great firearms too. They did have some small issues there for a little bit, but it looks like they've been ironed out and they did what they could to rectify them. So no reason why you shouldn't spend your money, on those. But I reckon bringing out another bolt action, would be something that competes in the Australian market. It's a very simple mechanism. So I think there's maybe a little bit of a market there, I think, especially if we're paying big bucks for straight pulls. I think maybe a $1,500, $1,000 to $1,500 bolt action might be on the cards.
Well, funny you should say that because a guy did make one here and he sent me photos, and guess what the price tag was?
What was it?
A bolt action. And guess what the price tag was?
I don't know. I wouldn't have no idea.
$6,500. And I just said, nah, not worth it, mate. You can get better guns, just as good a guns as that for that price. Couldn't believe it. Unfortunately, manufacturing here in Australia costs a lot of money. We got the manufacturers union that killed a lot of business. wanting more and more benefits for their workers. And unfortunately, that's why Holden and Ford went down here in Australia, because it just cost too much to manufacture, because the unions push so much for higher wages, and unfortunately, it's just not sustainable. That's so it is very hard. There's also a few smaller manufacturers like Acme Firearms. He makes some, and a lot of really top class gunsmiths here in Australia. Like I deal with Under Resistance Armory. He's a good gunsmith, and you would have seen me at Chris's workshop over the weekend on Instagram. We started coding these 6.5 PRC. He's got an armourer's license. He's really good, and probably one of the best Cerakoders in the country as well. And protective ceramic coatings. So it's we do have a lot, but it's a very small industry. Lithgow is probably the biggest and probably the only real commercial one, I'd say, like on a commercial basis. Here's a good one for hunting. Good one for you, Jace.
Yeah, check it out. Put aside the risk of introduced animals into Australia. What's one animal do you wish we had to hunt in Australia? For me, it would be grizzly bear. Yeah, I've seen some of those guys hunting the grizzly bears, especially in the US. They're very, very popular. I guess we're lucky here in respect that when you go out in the bush, you don't have to. Yeah, we would probably carry bear spray and a pistol, obviously, or a sidearm to be if you're in bear territory. But I don't know how I'd go, man, if I was in public land and trying to go to sleep and knowing you're in bear territory. What happens if you cook up some bacon or something in the pan, like smell sausages or something like that? You start attracting the bears.
Yeah,
my cup of tea, But again, as long as you had a sidearm, you're very rarely going to get attacked. But I've listened to a bunch of podcasts recently where guys have just been that close. They didn't realize the bear was even charged them until it was like a meter on them. They didn't even see it. They've spooked a bear. Really good stories on some of these podcasts. I'll try and find them for the names of the podcast for next week and have a discussion about it, because these are some very good podcasts and very good stories about grizzly hunting. So yeah, for me, good question, man. I mean, I'm a big shotgunner. I do like my long range shooting and hunting, but I do like my bird hunting. So I wish we could hunt ducks again in New South Wales. I mean, officially on a season, that'd be cool too. But I don't know, man. Maybe some elk or something big. Elk, I reckon, would be pretty cool. What do you reckon, Adam? What would you think? Would you like that?
Well, I was going to say the same as you, grizzly bear. I'd love to take a grizzly bear. How awesome would that be? Because I got the living room here that will be able to fit it in. So I'd love it. But my mate friend over in the US, he got himself a grizzly bear, and it cost him 10 grand for the permit. And basically, there's only so amount of permits a year. This is my understanding from where he lives. And when your time number comes up, hey, here's the permit, you basically got to drop everything and go, because you pay 10 grand for it, and you've just got to go. Basically, he just dropped everything and walked out. He owns his own business and just walked out and went and got himself a grizzly bear and got it mounted. And I'd say the same, elk, big moose, something like that. That'd be awesome if we had that here. But a lot of stuff, we can't hunt any natives, even though a lot of the native animals here in Australia, like the roos and that, do a lot of damage. They're a bane. I was talking to this with an anti-hunter trying to debate. I know I was stupid. I tried to debate it with an anti-gunner online civilly, but it didn't take long for them to get pretty nasty. But roos cause so much damage. I talked to a farmer at one of my last hunts. He spent $100 grand a year just fixing fences from roos. And I saw it firsthand. We were walking down a trail, out came a big roo and a whole lot of smaller ones behind him, head underneath the fence, stood up, ripped the whole damn fence. You could walk through the hole in the fence. And that's another big chunk of fence. And he said he gets that on a daily basis. And 100 grand a year.
I'd probably open it up so you don't have to have tags or permits to be able to shoot them. But you know what I mean? Like when you're shooting them, though, I mean, it's not exactly, it's all right, but it's, I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell us in the bottom. They're not really like an awesome game to hunt, or like foxes or bird hunting or deer hunting. They're just like, they look up. From a car, you're not calling them in. They're just standing there, like, hey, listen, I think they're good for meat. I'd probably shoot them for meat for dogs, or even shoot them for meat for myself. But as regards to game, I'm probably not the best. most exciting game to hunt. If you want to lay some smackdown on some of them, yeah, sure. But, that'd be probably fun too. But,
I'd love to have a grizzly bear burger. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. One from Colin. During the New South Wales state elections last year, I asked a candidate of pro-gun shooting party when his party was going to change the gun laws. He told me the gun laws were fine. I felt absolutely sick hearing that. Well, I totally agree with you. And I think we all know what fake pro-gun party that is, because there really is only one pro-gun party, or they call themselves pro-gun. Yep. Unfortunately, they do. That's the way they think. They're there just to get there, to line their own pockets, really. These politicians, that's all I can see. They just set themselves up for a future job. And once they're in there, they tell you all the bullshit to shooters. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this. We'll do that. Vote for us. And they get in and they don't want to upset the apple cart because they want to get voted in for another term, don't they? They don't want to jeopardise their job by saying, hey, let's go for getting rid of the NFA, which I think any politician that does not get rid of the NFA gone, they will never see my vote. No party will ever get my vote if they don't want to see the NFA fully gone and we go back to before 1996, which was a safer time in Australia than it is now.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we haven't had any changes in 24 years. So when everyone says they're fighting for me and election time comes around and they say, that they're going to do stuff for me, a lot of it never comes to fruition. And if I've got a rough idea, pretty good idea who you're talking about. I mean, this party said they weren't going to be doing anything on gun laws for the next 3 to 4 years. They even said they wouldn't be working with Mark Latham in New South Wales, or if David Leyonhjelm was elected from the LDP, even though David obviously didn't get elected. I'd love to see David run again. I think he's a great advocate for shooters. Not everyone's perfect. You don't always agree with their policies, but like Aaron, we not interested in anything else other than firearms. Appreciate. I've got a lot of really good relationships with farmers. I know water and stuff is really hard at the moment, but that's not what we do. We sort of in the firearms and hunting industry. We're not. I'm not a farmer, and yeah, we do gun related stuff. Otherwise, there's plenty of other guys out there doing, farming related videos and farming related podcasts, and they're much more experienced than us in being able to answer that, do those types of questions and do those types of videos. So it's not something I get involved in at all. So when people say, but it's more about this and that, that's if they like that, vote for them. But we're about firearms and hunting and sport shooting. That's it. That's all we do. So it's not interested in anything else, to be honest. So.
Yeah, and the older you get, I'm going to be 50 in a couple of years. You just want to concentrate on what you like because, you're getting on. I don't give a shit about politics. I couldn't care less. And I'm first to say I couldn't care less who is in politics because they're all the same people. They all do the same thing. They all try and screw the payers over. They're just worthless. All politicians, to my eyes, are pretty much just worthless. So, I just don't care anymore. If they're not pro-gun 100%, not remotely interested, and you won't be getting my vote. I'll just chuck my vote in the bin, as far as I'm concerned, because I won't even give you the opportunity to get my vote at all. Here's one we do get asked quite a bit. Do you think the Wedgetail and the Warwick firearms are stupidly overpriced? Well, that's yes and maybe to me. Yes, they are very expensive. $3,500 for a straight pull, which they are pretty heavy. And I think that's what the Warwick goes for, and the Wedgetail. Their pump action is about the same, $3,500. Where I can go buy a Remington pump action in 308 for $1,200. So yes, I do think they're very overpriced. But then again, you sort of, as we said, the manufacturing costs in Australia are very, very high. So and to run these machines, they just ask for a premium price, and wages here are just very high. So unfortunately, if anything made in Australia, it's just gonna cost us.
That's a lot of the cost, is the employment. You got to pay wages, insurances, that's what you have to pay if you want to pay for one. I just wouldn't be able to afford one. It's not that there's anything wrong with the gun. I think they're really, really well made guns. I think I've held one when I was up in Queensland with Aaron. And yeah, they're definitely well made, no doubt about it. But I just couldn't afford that. If there's a market out there for people that can afford that, then by all means, I would say buy one. But I just can't afford a price in that price range. And hopefully they can maybe take that. It's good to have them made here as well. But if they can take it, and really drop that price of manufacturing process, even if it was overseas, maybe that's an option for them, into the future. But, if they're still selling a lot of good guns to a lot of good people and they can afford them, well, then obviously business is good. So they don't need to worry about their pricing structure because people are buying them. But yeah, it's way out of my price range, guys. And I'd sort of try and dedicate the firearm that I do to one specific thing. So long range shooting, targets or shotgun or hunting specifically. And, I guess straight pulls, I don't know if it's a long range gun, it's a short range gun. I don't really see where it fits in, but they're good quality, no doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, to me, they're just not hunting rifles. They're too heavy and got too many pointy bits all over them to be lugging around the bush on a sling. That's another thing I wouldn't never really use them. Here's something that just to me think should be 100% unregistered and unregulated. Suppressors should be mandatory. Yes, they should be. Well, they are in all over basically every single country of the world. You can just walk in. Look at New Zealand, even with their new bullshit gun laws. Just walk in. A 6-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy a suppressor, no questions asked. It should definitely be here. It's a health thing as well, for health and safety for your hearing. And they always bang on about that here in Australia, occupational health and safety. There's been a lot of reports, a lot of things given to the government following those lines. And what did the police turn around and say? We will never issue a permit or okay a suppressor application, even though you can, like in New South Wales, you can freely go and apply for a suppressor. But they have said we'll turn down every application. That's just wrong.
Mate, if we can't get suppressors, man, there's not much hope for us, is there really? If we can't even get a basic, sound moderator for the end of a firearm, that somehow we're all going to turn into, contract killers and stuff like that. When you go to England and a lot of parts of Europe and stuff, where they almost have it as mandatory. Like, I spoke to my mate in England the other day. I did an interview with him from Point of Impact TV, and we're talking about suppressors and stuff. And like I said there, and even our 260 rips as well, and saying the farmers almost mandate that you have a suppressor when you're shooting on their property, so you don't have to, your stock basically, you're not causing issues with the stock, loud noises, spooking them, especially if you've got dairy cows and stuff like that. Sometimes they can say they can stop producing or they have less production because they're getting spooked and stuff. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been hearing. So yeah, suppressors should be mandatory, man. I mean, it's just the absolute standard. I don't want them registered, but if we can get them first and we have to register them, let's just get them and deal with the registration process down the track.
Yes, definitely. At least we've got them in our hands. You got a lot of places in Europe, gun ranges won't even let you on if you're not running a suppressor. You've got to use them at gun ranges. So took away, interesting name. Don't see anything wrong with licensing, but when you're licensed, you should be able to own whatever you want.
Let me say one about that first, right?
Yeah.
So if they did a background check, what's the difference between that and a license? How does the license stop crime? I mean, I agree with you. I don't really have a problem with it per se. If that means I can get whatever I want, I'm happy to jump through that process, right? With a check and a safety course. But I'm not under any illusions that somehow me having a license, if they've already done a background check on me, which in essence is a license. So what is having a license solved? Is just to say that I'm a good person. If I've had a background check and I've been approved for a gun, I should be fine anyway. So listen, I don't have a problem with it. I think there's bigger fish to fry than licenses. It's not that big of a deal. But I just think a license doesn't solve any crime. It doesn't help. It's just a bureaucracy of paying $200 to an authority to say I can have a gun when they can already do a background check on me anyway.
Yeah, I just think licenses are completely pointless. When you do the safety course, they're totally useless. When I did my safety course, there was a young guy in the back of the room. He slept. He had a big night out on the piss, and he was asleep most of it, and they still gave him his gun license. And all he asked was, I want a 50 cal and I want an AR-15. And he was told half a dozen times you can't have him. Then he was asleep, and they gave him the bloody safety course. to go get his gun license. So the licensing process is completely waste of money, waste of time. We don't need it, because what does it tell you? It tells you when they are looking at this bit of paper, your application here, when they look at it, at that time, when they type you into the computer, you're not a criminal at that time. So they don't know what you're going to do down the track. So every time, it's, just have the PTA sort of system. You go into the shop, okay, so Jason would like to buy a gun. All right, they look him up. Yep, he hasn't committed any crimes. He's okay to buy a gun. That's how it should be. Should be that simple. Even if they slap their $40 onto the price for the administration.
And you can even do that every time you buy the firearm, like they do anyway in the US. People think you just go in there and you just go and buy a gun. You don't. You have to have a background check. You fail the background check, you don't get a gun. Simple as that.
Yeah, and see FBI doing the background check in real time. So you're standing there, and they have a call, basically like a call center, from my understanding, and they just tell you, no, he can't. No, he's a criminal. Domestic violence. No, he has been committed to a mental institution last year. He can't have a gun. It's on the spot, and that sort of thing really works. Because remember, all these mass shootings in the US and that, they're all pretty much always done with illegally obtained firearms, not ones that people go buy over the counter.
Yeah,
so yes, I'd like to see the end of the licensing system or totally and utterly rehauled.
What we got there, mate?
Okay, there you go, Jason.
So, question from Glenn Pearson. Do you feel that promoting firearms like Warwick's WSA1, etc., showing the speed it can shoot, is giving the left-wing ammo or publicity to go off? This thing happened, the same thing a couple of years ago, probably, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago now, with the Adler, where Niowa, shot the Adler lever-action shotgun. They said, oh, it was rapid fire. I just think, these, importers should be able to sell their firearms legally and put them on display to shoot. I don't think they did anything wrong. I don't think, shooting them, faster or anything like that. I mean, we're just abiding by the laws that, apparently John Howard put in. And then when we say we can get this type of firearm because it's not banned, oh, no, that's for ban that one too. So that's what I mean. The 1 minute they want to go by the laws, next thing they want to ban something that's not even banned because, that somehow gets around the law. Just like the police are trying to get around the law by saying appearance laws and we need to ban things. So, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Yes,
exactly. Well, the Adler one, oh man, I copped so much shit over that. People were saying, oh, because of your video, you banned it. But they've got to remember, another channel also reviewed it, and no one seemed to get up him about it. He reviewed it before I did, and the media even used all our footage, mine and another channel's footage. They used, they used obscure people's footage, and just random people use that on their own personal pages. But they all came back to the Naya video. When they have a legal right to advertise their product, it's just like advertising a bag of potato chips, really, isn't it? It's a legal product in Australia. You got to get it out to the market somehow. So you want people reviewing it for a start because it gets the word out, and you're going to have to do some form of advertising or people won't know about it.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Man, we've got so many questions, guys. We're going to fail yet again to
get through them all. We had that hiccup with that troll, or a few trolls that seem to be coming from the same person by looks of it. The UK suppressor.
Well, yeah, the UK has suppressors, semi-auto rimfire, semi-auto shotguns up to 3 rounds. Exactly, and they're pretty draconian. So, after what was it, Dunblane in the US, they banned pistols. So, yeah, I mean, they can still have suppressors. I mean, I'd even say their gun laws are better than ours. They're released to have suppressors, allowed to have semi-automatic shotguns to 3 shots and Ruger 10-22s. Mate, I think they're much better, to be honest. I mean, compared to what we've got. I mean, they can still have centerfires. They can still have, lever actions and things like that. So, mate, I'd have to say England's laws are better than ours.
Yep.
No, they've got a lot of issues with self-defense and people getting, in serious trouble for defending themselves in their home when they've, happened to put somebody down, and defended themselves and killed someone. So, what do you do?
Yeah, well, we made a video on self-defense about that elderly man defending his wife being killed, or trying to defend his wife, and he was killed by thugs. He had no way of actually defending himself with an object like a firearm that would have probably saved his life, and saved his elderly wife being put in a hospital. But we will do a self-defense one coming up, because no doubt there will be another instance like that. Chris, so this is a question I did see from Chris that I was going to, before the questions got stuffed up. I'm checking out a new club on the weekend, giving the boot to SSAA. Good on you, Chris. That's what I'd like to see. I'm sure Jason feels the same. Chris, there's in this previous question, asked them if they had any plans on opening new clubs up or improving the clubs that are up and running, because a lot of these SSAA clubs, especially around Queensland, do look old and run down, and not very appealing to go shoot at. When some of these smaller clubs, like we've got a very small club here in Bow Desert, man, it's immaculate, beautiful club, absolutely immaculate. And you go to some of these big SSAA clubs, they look like something out of fucking Mad Max, just decrepit, like Armageddon came through it.
Hey, listen, also, too, I think the comments have disappeared again. There's ones all near the top. I don't think we may have answered, have we, or not? I think it's disappeared down the bottom again. But I want to read this one here, just probably because you can't find it, because, sorry, guys, there's just so many. This guy's obviously taking the piss, but I'll read it just for I'm just trying to find it again. I'll go down the bottom, because where is it? It's here somewhere. His name was... Sorry, Aaron, if you've got one, you go first. I'll find it.
Dr. Rob, because Rob's a top bloke and he doesn't carry on like an idiot. Rob, we need a firearms body like the NRA to fight for our industry, and I would have no worries paying for membership to help the fight and have someone in Parliament to fight for us. I agree totally. We need a strong, no questions asked, bloody organisation that doesn't have an interest at all in copping money from the government. I don't think an organisation that supplies a genuine reason is ever going to really fight for you, because they make money out of it all. So I think there needs to be a totally independent one that doesn't do the genuine reason stuff, that they're there just as a body to fight your gun laws, because they don't have to appease to the government, because haven't got these ranges, or they haven't got their licensing stuff to be taken away from them.
Yeah,
I think that's why the National Shooting Council is doing all right, because they don't have a genuine reason or ranges. They just get into it and actually get on with it.
At least they're trying. We're not saying they're the be-all and end-all either, but there's one here, interesting one, from you should just ban this guy just for stupidity, to be honest, but Elgu Gob. Just a shout-out to the SSAA Belmont, best club in the state. Well, you know what? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that.
So do I. Look at what happened in the High Court with them, taking their own members to court.
Well, the members... I go into that right now, but maybe that's for a later date.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we'll go down a bit further. Just picking these up randomly. Did you know that WA, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australian government purchased thousands of AR-15s, 600 of them just in New South Wales, and now at the international airports, the feds are armed with fully automatic assault rifles. Yeah, I did realise they've been getting AR-15s all over the show, and I do think here in Queensland, about 50 of them got lost in the mail when they're sent up north from one of the wholesalers, and they've never been recovered. Yep, I don't think they should have... Oh, sorry, Jason.
I was going to say, just remember that they want them, they just don't want you to have them, because they're trained just like they were when... they shot the lady at the Lint Cafe siege. They also, New South Wales Police in Hornsby in the Piazza area, there was one of the guys with mental health out, running around with a knife in the streets. They ended up shooting two old ladies, wounded them. The reason you never hear about them now is because they got paid out a lot of money to keep their mouths shut in regards to that. So again, if you think, police being out there training, and I know I've got a friend who's a detective not far from my house, and she says she shoots about 15 to 16 rounds a year, and she hadn't shot when I spoke to her in 14 months. And I said, moving targets? And she said, no, just static targets. I'm like, 15 rounds a year, like really? And we're giving these people guns out in the street that shoot 15 rounds a year. I would say that's almost like arming someone that's never used a gun before. That's how bad that is, I think. And no training whatsoever, And the thing is, it comes down to budgets and stuff like that. They just can't have people, thousands of police putting, thousands of rounds down range per year. There's just no money for that. So, and we let them run around with firearms, and they subsequently end up shooting the general public. And that's happened on multiple occasions now.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and look at the guy at the Swingers Club. Biggest payout in Victorian history. Getting a blowjob and got shot in the back.
He was at a Swingers Club with his new missus, and he was getting a BJ, and which is, hey, all the power to you, ain't complaining. And then, they came in, and he already told the people that he had a little fake pistol, like it was a cap gun, had the thing on the end of it, and then I think his ex-girlfriend rang up and complained. They turned up, and he got getting shot while he was getting a BJ. I mean, I guess if you're going to die that way, probably not a bad way to die. I mean, poor bugger. Luckily, you survived, but he's had multiple surgeries, and got a big fat payout because he wasn't doing anything wrong. But again, they investigated themselves, and apparently they did nothing wrong. So why did they pay out?
Yeah, the largest payout in Australian history. So here's an interesting one from Tommy. Stopped all manufacturing here in Canada, forced them to bankruptcy. I have heard that. And in Canada, they basically stopped manufacturing of firearms. So all those businesses gone out of, just gone bankrupt, lost everything. Absolutely disgusting, coming after businesses. We're getting more questions now. Thanks, guys. And we'll try to get through some of these pretty fast before we wrap it up in 5 minutes.
So we go from 10 to 15. We've got about to 8:40, bit after 8:40.
No worries. Agree totally. We need some more pump action rifles, but a little cheaper than what some of them are offering. Yes, I totally agree. Pump action are probably the next best thing to a semi-auto, I guess, because you follow up shots. I've got a little Remington 22 and a Remington 223. A lot of fun. The 223 is not exactly accurate, and the 22 pretty much played up from day one and had to go to a gunsmith twice. But that'll be in the review coming up.
I'm just of the thought that if I can have a straight pull in a shotgun, in a 5-shot, why can't I have a pump or a 3-shot semi-auto if I can have a straight pull 5-shot? Again, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Ridiculous and absurd. But anyway.
Yep, here's actually a good one. I get asked this quite a bit about the Troy pump action. Why is it that they banned the pump action Troy from coming in? Why can't we even have it? It's so crazy. Well, that is because it was basically a pump action AR-15 based on the AR-15 looks and everything, and it was marketed as a pump action AR-15 to get around the Californian gun laws, so they could use 30-round magazines in a pump action. And I think that's the sole reason why they banned it here, because of that, because it was for basically to get around AR-15 laws in California. Yes. Anything else you see you want to talk to?
Just keep going down. I mean, there's some bit of unknown history. Just anything you see. I mean, what do you guys think we should be talking about? What are some topics, I guess, coming up in the next couple of weeks? Do you think we should be talking about, guys? It'll be interesting to find out what you guys want to hear about. This is the one we're doing now because it was pretty much unprecedented hearing about these gun bans in WA, and most of us, as probably you guys are watching, pretty disgusted about what's going on. So we thought we didn't really want to do politics. We don't want to do it, but we've had no choice to talk about this, to get people motivated to do something and start putting pressure on your organizations to start some sort of legal action. Ask the question, and if they don't want to do anything, you're better off just joining your local club. Yeah, sure, the local clubs don't have the money to do anything, but at least you're not going to be complicit in giving money to these large organizations that don't do diddly squat. I just think that's what I'm going to do. I'm transparent. I'm still a member of the SSAA. I've still got 2 years to go, but after I finish, I won't be a member of them anymore, and I won't continue to pay for lack of inactivity in fighting for our laws. They say they do, but again, like we've always said from day one, take the emotion out. Look at the facts. The facts are there is no changes. We don't have suppressors. We've still got appearance laws, no self-defense, no gun changes, bans, week in, week out. So, again, if you think there are changes, put them in the comments below. We'd love to see what legislative changes we've been missing out on. But there are none, because I live and breathe this every single day. So,
yeah, exactly. We do have some good videos coming up talking about gun parts and a few extra things, products and that. So yeah, that's what we're going to concentrate on next week. So it's going to be a totally different sort of a show next week. And I agree with this from Brad Daly. When they start banning Aussie products for guns, they have lost the plot. Australia has lost the plot when it comes to firearms. Couldn't agree more. I'm a small business owner, and I hate seeing small businesses and people who are actually out there giving it a go in life getting knocked down because of this bullshit. I just think it's wrong. Totally wrong.
Get into Mick Becker's. We're about 90. We've had pretty average guys. Been pretty good tonight. Over 100 views almost. Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Been good.
Yeah, the show is getting bigger. We talked about this from day one. We were going to be happy with 20 people, and we got 90 something on the first show, and it's been going up every week. And you guys have been fantastic. I watch some big YouTubers overseas, their live streams each week, and we're basically keeping up with guys who have 30, 40,000, 50,000 subscribers. And a big US gun tuber that I talk to, he has 300,000, and our live streams basically keep up with his, with 5,000 subscribers. So it's been absolutely fantastic. Jason and me talk about this during the week, how excited we are about the next topic and making this and talking to you guys. As you know, we did this to engage with you guys, people who watch our videos and listen to Jason's podcast. We can actually start hearing some feedback from you and get some of your questions answered. So a couple more questions, more 243 people here. Don't know what the obsession with it is.
God holy 243.
Yeah.
Perfect and big game.
The transgender round. Doesn't know if it's a 223 or a 308. Here we go. Petra Human, top bloke. So with the NFA, what is the actual definition of a firearm? Example, gel blasters.
Hey,
yes.
I'll answer this one because I did. With you guys know, the police minister's been naughty shooting these firearms. I've been in contact with this guy. He's pretty much the one that got it into the media. And they're basically, so we've got an official meaning now that this is on appearance laws. It actually says in the email that I've got. Maybe we'll go into it a bit more next week and stuff, but that's how they're trying to ban it, by saying gel blasters basically on appearance replicate an AR-15 or similar. So like it's a toy, like it's on the box that it's like from 5 and up, and they still want to ban. Like, can you believe, guys, can you believe in any reality that we're banning a toy? Like, it's just, you can't even make this up how bad it is. It really is laughable, pathetic, all in one go.
Got a couple of the plastic toy gel blasters here. And if you can't tell that these are fake, you got a problem. That's for sure. Here's an interesting one that I do get asked quite a bit about PRS. Do we have PRS series in Australia? Same as the US. Have the National Rifle League? Would love to have a crack. I get asked a lot, and I get to get a lot of feedback from guys that have shot in the contest. A lot of them only go to one contest, and it all seems to come back down to the same factor. A lot of guys there are just wankers. It's plain and simple, and that's what they tell me. A lot of the guys who do it every contest and that are just up themselves, expect people to have the top and latest gear and scopes and look down on people that don't. And that's the biggest gripe I hear from people. I love the PRS sort of style of contest, long range shooting over different barricades. I think it's a lot of fun. I've never done a contest because they are so far away as well. They all seem to be down in New South Wales and Victoria. So
And don't feel like, anyway, guys, that, you can't get involved in it. If you got maybe something that's not going expensive, just find some good people that, don't get me wrong. There are some good people in PRS. So, just go out there and, have a good time and, try and stick with those good people that'll give you a hand and not going to frown upon you for having maybe a cheaper firearm or different scope, because you know what, it's all about having fun, and that's the ultimate thing we need to concentrate on. So just stick clear of some of the idiots and stick with some of the good people that are willing to help you, even though you may not have the best gear. You might come dead last, but you know what, you're having fun, guys. That's what it's all about.
Yep, exactly. And Rob, he agrees with us. I think if police can have semi-auto, I see no issues with semi-autos for us. Definitely couldn't agree more. And I think most people do actually agree with that. Geez, there's even more comments coming in.
We're just picking up. It's just gone epic.
Yeah.
10,000, 10, 11, probably 11,000 views by the time you wake up tomorrow on that video we just made last week. So, sorry,
last night.
24 hours. We only made that at like, what, 3? No, it wasn't
in
that
the
late
afternoon.
4:30, like 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And then Aaron released it pretty quickly. And, it's 10,000 views. Crazy.
Yeah, we just did a bit of research and got it together. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And also another thing, if you're watching this, make sure you do subscribe. We talked about this today. There's only something like 13% who watch my videos are actually subscribers to the channel. It's not hard, guys. Just hit the subscribe button because it all gets the figures up, and I start getting recommended more to other in the recommendations on YouTube. So if you watch a video of mine, just hit the subscribe button and the like button, because it all goes towards this YouTube analytics, whatever that is, because they never tell you what it is. So just just hit the subscribe button, guys. And I got 11,000, almost 11,000 people now have watched the video from last night, and I've only got 5,000 subscribers. So right now, while you're watching this, just hit that button right now, and hit it, and hit that thumbs up, and let's try and get us back to at least 12,000 before the year's out that I had before YouTube pulled my first channel down.
If I normally like a channel from someone on YouTube, I normally just always subscribe to them anyway, because if I like the one video, chances are they're going to make some really good content anyway, especially if you're in an industry. Like I'm doing some camera stuff, like just about shooting, and this is like one of my DSLRs, and I just want to learn how to do something. Maybe I might not subscribe to some of those channels, but even some of those I have. It's just hit that button. Come on, guys, hit it now. If you're not subscribed, hit it, whichever way. Anyway,
and I'm actually going to do, when I get financial again, because my business has suffered over this COVID, I'm going to actually give away a really nice firearm to people who help the show out. So definitely, you got to be subscribed, and it's going to be a contest for the subscribers and that to win a firearm, and that will be coming up soon. But I just have to get a bit more financial because I have to pay for this out of my own pocket. It's going to cost me quite a bit of money, but yeah, I just want to give something back to you guys for being so good. So here's Aussie Capitalist again. The cop at Eka in Brisbane last year had an accidental discharge. Yes, this, I think it was a lady, and she, for some reason, was in an office playing with her handgun and put it back in her holster and shot through the floor into the ground, around people. Lucky she didn't kill someone. Went through the office floor and landed like in it, people waiting in the queue. Lucky they didn't kill someone. That's just the incompetence that we have to put up with. But yet we're the bad people. If you and me did that, dude, if we did that, we'd have our guns fucking taken off us. Gone. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Just check the PMs too. Got something for you.
Yep. Pick another question.
Yeah. Okay. While I'm here. What do we have? Let's have a look.
I'm too scared to go too far down in case it wipes everything out.
Just what you can go. Yeah. Did you see the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
just
on.
do that. Yeah. All right.
Dan.
Yeah. We're sorry, guys. We had another. Just why would you come on a live stream just to be a dickhead? You know, like it's so funny. But anyway, that's what this is all about. That's what you do in your live streams. You get a few retards. Yeah. What
There
happened?
you go.
That's an interesting one. They got back to
Jason's
me.
actually doing some research.
Yeah, they got back to me last week and said he's under investigation by the local area command is being investigated by police. But, you know, it's funny how when they find the footballers, the NRL players, Latrell Mitchell and Josh Addo-Carr, that, you know, 48 hours, the police can act quickly in that situation. But when it's one of their own, you know, they've got to do, you know, due diligence in before they lay charges. And it's been like, this was in March. It's March, April, May. That's 3 months ago. Just insane.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a very good one. I've been asked this before from Aussie Capitalists. Man, some of these your regular guides do actually ask very, very good questions. The ACAR triple barrel, which is a break action, like a double barrel with 3 barrels, is as good as we can get to a 3-shot semi-auto. No action cycle means no jams. Yep, I've used them. A lot of fun.
I've got the Dickinson, but that's been working pretty well for me. The Dickinson straight pull shotgun. Yeah, it's 28-inch barrel, I think it is. Man, I haven't had any trouble so far. If I had to pick one thing, it would be normally when I'm shooting, I pull the right hand, so I take my finger off the trigger. What I probably should have got done, and what was actually recommended to me, but I didn't listen, is to get the left-handed one. So when you're shooting, bang, you pull it with your left, bang. You got to take your hand off the foregrip at the front. But I just think it's better. So bang, 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 pull it instead of going bang, because as you're pulling the front, you're moving that shoulder and you're pushing the gun forward when you're trying to pull it back. And then you got to get your finger back on the trigger. So if you're buying, if you're right-handed, buy the left-handed version because you can go bang, bang, bang. Yeah. So
well, here's the Berica. I'm right-handed, bang, bang.
See how your arm comes forward, that shoulder thing. You move it, like see how it kind of pushes the gun a bit forward. You know what I mean? I just don't do it. So do it left-handed.
Oh, this is the first model. It doesn't have it left-handed. Sorry, I'm ambidextrous. Yeah, so sort of like that. Bang.
Better, bang.
Bang.
Yeah. I reckon that's better.
In fact, that was the first shotgun I shot after all my eye surgery.
Yeah.
I was a bit hesitant. Great shotguns, guys. They actually, another bit of news. When I saw to the importer, they got a short barrel one coming out. So I think it'll be about that short when it comes out. And that's coming in the next shipment. So definitely, if you want one, get onto it. This has been one of the best straight pulls I've actually used. It works really well, and I've never had a problem. And it's the only mag-fed one that I've used that hasn't crapped out on me. So I am pretty impressed with the Bericas.
Anyway, probably pick one good one, man. One last one. We're getting to 8:42, so we've got to finish up. But
yep. There we
go.
go.
A quick one. Idea for next week, boys. Laws on travel with firearms, interstate, domestic flights and storage when you're away from a safe, or episode on straight pull shotgun. Yeah, we can do that, man. Happy Hunt is always a good contributor on the live stream. So, yeah, man, I think we can do that. Same as Tommy Gun. I'm not sure if that's Tommy that I know. Is that you, Tommy? I know Tommy. Yeah. Sounds like
I think he's a Canadian friend.
Oh, is he? Maybe it's not the guy I'm thinking of then, but still. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yes, yeah, we'll pretty much here we go. WSAA club at Beaumont is a shithole. Thank you, JT. So that should get up the troll.
Listen, there's probably nothing wrong with the range. The range it's like an area that maybe has a bad name for it. You know, like I live in Western.
It's an expensive area.
Yeah, there's plenty of bad names, but it's not the area. Sometimes it's just the people that are in it. You know, so there's nothing wrong with the range per se, but
or the entire organisation that's a part of it. Yeah.
Anyway, we can hope something can change. We can hope. We're giving him an opportunity, Aaron.
Yep.
You know,
giving you 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't want to make
Okay, 4 weeks. Okay, we'll say 4 weeks. I will might have to put a little wager on this one, I think.
Anyway,
And,
yeah, thanks to the people that have joined in. It's been really good. We did have a few idiots here, but me and Aaron have spoken about that over the last couple of weeks, so we knew we were going to get that, and we probably got to manage that a little bit better. So we're probably sorry about that, but yeah, it's still been fantastic, man, and I've enjoyed it.
Very, very sorry once again. Once I start getting too many questions, it seems to jump straight away. I just miss out a whole chunk. So, guys, if I did miss your question, get it in. I'll try and get the link up midday to mid-afternoon on Thursday next week and get your questions in. If I did accidentally miss it, I do apologise. So get them in there and for next week, and we will answer them straight up. Also, Patreons, you can ask questions on Patreon because we're going to make a point because you financially help the show out. We're going to answer all your questions on Patreon. So get your questions up. I'll put a link up on Patreon each Thursday to do that. And what's Jason smirking at?
Just look at that dead last one too, the dead last comment.
WSWA Little River Vic is a shithole. Maybe this could start being a bit of a thing.
And we're going to concentrate on the positive, guys. Let's
next week. If there's nothing major happening in the news next week, we're going to have a very interesting show and tell and informative firearms week live stream next week. It's going to be really good. Something Jason B talked about a bit, and said hopefully you'll learn something and you'll maybe teach us something as well. Tell us how you do things.
Let's just take that one off the screen while we're finishing off, just so we can finish off on a positive note.
Okay.
That's your opinion. We respect people's opinions that write in.
Okay. Here's a positive one from the same one. Great show, boys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joseph. Thank you. Yeah, the amount of messages I get in my inbox, and so does Jason, the following day after these are really positive. We got people saying how good they like it. I can't believe it. You guys are the best. The guys who follow Shooting Stuff Australia and the Australian Hunting Podcast are the best guys out there. That's for sure, definitely. And you listen to the best YouTube channel in Australia, and you listen to the best hunting podcast in Australia. So you're definitely the top guys.
And another one there from Paul. Good show too. Put that one up on the way out too.
Yeah, from Paul
and Aussie Aussie Capitalist.
Aussie Capitalist. Definitely.
Right.
That is awesome. So thank you very much, guys, and we hope we enjoyed it tonight. And it was just a bit of an off-the-cuff sort of a thing because we did have a really good one we're going to do next week. We're going to do it tonight, but this came up yesterday, all these gun bans. We just thought we'd talk about it a bit more. Go look at the video Jason and me made from last night. It's called the 7 guns being banned in Australia. And the Berica shotgun here is number 8 that was banned the day after. So go have a look at that video. We explain what guns, we show pictures of the guns, and we talk about those guns. And I'm sure you guys will come to the same conclusion as Jason and me, dumbfounded by some of them, absolutely dumbfounded by what they are going to ban over there. So thank you very much for watching tonight, and find all our details in the description, and head over and listen to Jason's new podcast. He's just got a new one out this week, I think it is.
Next week.
Next week. Yep. So go and listen to that, and we will see you in 7 days' time. And another thing, I've been asking about some more gun reviews. I have got a very interesting gun review coming out in a couple of days. It's one of those guns that didn't quite go to plan, and something happens to it. So look out for that gun review. Probably be released tomorrow night or Saturday. So have a good week, guys, and thank you for watching, and have a safe and happy shooting weekend. Catch ya.